Hey YouTube, how's it going? This is going to be 15 examples of uses for small plastic storage bags. It could be whatever brand you like. It could be the Ziploc brand. It could be the Hefty brand. Some of them have thicker plastic than others, and some of the actual contraptions that secure the bag are different as well. This one happens to be a Hefty bag, and they use this device called the slider. And so it's supposedly a little bit better than a Ziploc bag, but I've never tested it. But this is just some uses here. The first is protection for your gear against moisture and rain. Number two, container to hold gear. It could be kits, food, water, tinder, like we see here today. This is something that I put some feather sticks and stuff in there yesterday. And you could also add, found objects that you find out in the woods that may be of use. Number three, an insulator against wind and cold for your hands and feet. Because this is not very large, you would probably have difficulty making this into a hat or anything more than that. So something for your hands and feet would probably be realistic. You could also, if you have a larger bag than this, you could possibly make a small pillow if you stuff it with leaves or whatever else you have. Number five would be to store garbage. Not so much just because you don't want to litter, but maybe there's things that you want to reuse, but they're now dirty or so forth. Number six, basically a way to cover wounds. So if you get injured, maybe you're running out of different bandages and wraps, you could always use some of the plastic here on a bag. You could cut it out and make a strip, if you will, to cover a wound. Number seven, a food prep surface. So if there is no other place around that it looks clean, maybe the inside of the plastic bag could serve as just a makeshift food prep area. Number eight, a wrap to protect items. This is in particular if you have fragile items. You could stuff a bag with maybe leaves, or maybe if you have a cotton bandana, and then put the item inside and kind of nest it, so it's a little more safer than just throwing it in a bag. Number nine, you can store wet gear or clothing in this. For example, if you have some gloves and they got really wet, but you need to put it in your backpack because you need a hike, you can put it in like a Ziploc bag, for example, and just keep it separated from touching your other gear. Number 10, sprouting seeds. You can actually put seeds in here and put a few droplets of water and keep it in a dark, somewhat cool area. And after a few days, they'll start to sprout. But what you need to do is, like twice a day, I would recommend you to put some fresh water in there, maybe drain out the ode, and in a short period of time, most seeds will start to sprout. Number 11, a small float. Of course, it just depends on the quality of the actual zipper or whatever the securing device there on your bag. But no doubt about it, it could be just for temporary use, a little float. Number 12, you could patch your tent, tarp, clothing, or even your backpack. So what you could do, once again, you could cut out a patch and then, of course, use tape or maybe resin from a tree if you don't have tape, and to adhere it to the material for a temporary patch. You could also possibly even use maybe candle wax to help it to attach it. Number 13, you could actually warm water via solar rays. So, for example, you could fill this with water, hold it out, or even tie it off on a tree limb and let it stay out there for a little while to get some hot water. It's not going to possibly be like steaming water, but you'll at least have some water that would be, warmer than if you just left it out in the sun in a cup, for example. Number 14, a means to make fire. So what you're going to do is you're going to fill this up about halfway with water, and then you're going to twist and create a bubble or a circle, and that sphere of water you're going to take and put it out in the sun, and take your hand and put it off to the side so it's offset, and get it so that the sun's rays are coming through this small sphere of water. And what's going to happen, it'll act like a magnifier, and then you have to adjust this sphere of water up and down on top of your tinder until you get a nice focal point. It takes a lot of practice. That one is not an easy one, but it is doable. And lastly, number 15, you could cut this in strips to the widths that you need and create cordage. In fact, if you start at the right point, you could actually take the entire bag and make it a one piece of seamless cording. Or you can make a lot of other strips that are a lot shorter, and you could braid them together for strength or just use them individually. So these are just some different ideas of how you can use a plastic bag for outdoor use, for prepping, survival, and even bushcraft. Thanks for coming along. You guys take care.